So on the trailer, here's what I got. I stretched this out 9 inches, which gives me that bigger wheel well. Now there's my piece for my spring purchase, and you'll see on this side I kind of got it clamped in. So that piece will get welded in along the outside of the frame like that, and into this. This is a heavier piece. It'll get welded into that. And then these obviously my spring's upside down. These perches will get welded about where you see them. That one will get welded back here. The front one will get welded under here. And then this will overlap what I put in here. This was thinner box tubing, about the same as the frame, maybe 1/8. It's not very thick, but it was enough to get that pieced back together, that 9-inch gap. And then when I weld this, which is much heavier, then I can also weld it in to this back piece. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. I got to pull these wheels off, clean this rail all up. So today I got that piece of the frame welded in there. Well, it's just tacked in. I can't weld it completely in because if I weld the top side completely in, it's going to warp away from underneath. So I just got like 4 or 5 good heavy tacks in there to hold that piece in there. See if I can flip it over. Then I'll weld up the bottom underside. Then I can come back and lay down some more welds into that. So it's coming along. Stretched it out 9 inches. Got my wheel well there. The trailer is upside down right now. I got that other axle off. Man, that thing weighed a ton. I bet that other axle weighs 200 pounds. Trailer didn't weigh nothing when I got that axle off. So there's the other axle, and I flipped it over. And this is where my spring's going to be. I know that wheel well opening looked like it was pretty huge, but that's a 14-inch wheel. That wheel actually fit on the axle, but I only got a tire on one rim. And that, I believe, is a 195/70 14, and it goes with the 205/75 14. So the tire for the trailer is a little bigger around than that. But upside down here, you can see that's where I'll weld my spring purchase. This will just be a gusset. I got to sandblast this. This is a good heavy 3/16. So I'll cut this and make a gusset to weld off the front of that. And these 3 pieces of frame, or 2 pieces of original frame, and the piece that I put in there, these 3 are really heavy. So I'm going to tie mine together with that center one. Then this will go across and weld all 3 of them together with that. And then on the back, I have some heavy angle iron. It's shorter here. It's about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. And I'm going to run one piece, and maybe overkill, but one piece all the way across to the other perch on the other side. So that's about it, and that's about where it'll sit. That's exactly where the springs will be. And you can see the center of the tire is pretty close. So it's coming together really nice. I'm going to go ahead and weld this up tomorrow. I'm going to definitely do some sandblasting under here. It's not really too bad, just in the center a little bit. With those tiny tires on it, this thing sat so low to the ground. But go ahead and do what work I need to do under here. Get it flipped back over and get me some wheels. So still got the trailer upside down, but today I did all the welding in the bottom. This grayness looks kind of funky because I sandblasted that, and it's got some acid on it right now to etch it all up. But the springs are welded in. I got the perches all welded in. I got those 3 pieces of frame section all welded together. I didn't weld that 100%. I did like 1.5 inch, 2-inch fat welds. I'm on a 220 welder at like 90 amp, so I gotta make a gusset for up here that'll go across the front. Out of this right here, you see how I got it drawn out, but it'll just be a gusset to kind of go, just get welded in here, get cut off here, and then go across and then weld it into the centerpiece. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the back, but I got a piece of heavy angle iron that I'm just going to run all the way across to the other side, side to side. So yeah, it's in there. One thing I did was these shackles, the ones that came with the spring were like 4 inches, because this is going to really set this trailer up pretty high. The ones that came with the spring were like 4 inches, and the ones that came with the perches were 2.65, I believe. So I used a shorter one. But now I do have all new bolts and nuts, but the weirdest thing is the bolts and nuts came from the same company that the shackles and the perches came from, but they're a little tough to get in there. It's almost like you got to pound them in. So I'm using the old bolts while I got it mocked up, because those are easier to get out. So everything measured up straight. As long as the trailer was straight, the axle should be straight. I just went with 60% of my frame. My frame from front corner to back corner is 102 inches. So it was 61.5 inches for the center of my axle. That way, if I decide to run the box off a little bit to get my 9 feet, so if I run the box off, say 6 inches here in the back to get 9 feet, what I would do is shift the box and maybe give me 3 inches in the back and 3 inches in the front, or just go with the 8.5 foot box. But I could always come out, 6 inches on the back and then 6 inches on the front, because that's how this did. The floor on the camper was 8 feet right to the front, but the front of the camper, because it came up off the floor, the front of the camper was out here at 10 feet. So the roof is 10 feet, but the floor is 8 feet front to back.